Thank you very much, Joanne, and thank you to all our listeners, those of you who are tuned away. And before I go any further, let me let you know that I'm fully aware of some technical glitches that might be interrupting the signal as it comes to you, but bear with us. We are very near correcting that, and that's one of the reasons why we're going to go ahead with our regular programming for today. Well, this is Viewpoint, and I'm here on a Wednesday, and you know what that means for me? Double duty, because I'm back again at 5 this afternoon with In the View. But duty calls, and here I am with my hand up. I will do what I'm called to do and make my contribution to this great country. Here with me today is Mr. Benjamin Ortega, the man who have presented himself for the very first time as someone with solutions to some of the acute problems that we are faced with. I'll say this though, and I'm saying it from a personal note, that I am not envying his position one bit. The problems are so mounting, they're getting more and more, and we are getting all kind of experiences, but I can say what I want. I have my role to play from this end, and I play my role. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Ortega. How are you, sir?
Good afternoon, Mr. Moore. I'm doing, well, under the circumstances, I'm doing okay. Thank you for inviting me once again to your wonderful program.
All right. Now that you're here, a lot of people are, well, they were very much aware of how well you did in the polls the last time.
Yes.
And because the season has presented itself kind of prematurely, because a lot of people were not ready for this. Let's start there.
Okay.
Were you expecting this? And do you think this is really necessary and this is what we should be doing at this time?
That's a simple answer, Wendell. No. I did not expect it. Okay, let me say like this. The political climate did not change, so thus it was something that could have happened and could have happened anytime. Expecting it right after, I always like to say Category 7 Hurricane Irma, no. I did not think that this was the right thing to do at this moment. I understand the political scene. I understand giving and taking and all what is going on behind closed doors that we don't get to know until until it's too late, and then government falls and someone pulls support. But no, I still can't understand it. At the end of the day, we all need to do what we need to do. It's us reasoning why I'm also on your program to at least share my views with the general public. But I still can't understand that we even considering and have considered and even have called for elections in 2018.
I have to ask you, from your perspective, just what you think you and the rest of the politicians would be saying to the people to get them to support you. What are you going to be saying to them?
Well,
in a nutshell.
Yeah, in a nutshell, I could only say what we are going to say. We are going to say what we have been repeatedly saying ongoing through the last 2016 election, and even now. The reason for the last three elections is clear. There's no political maturity. And if we continue like this, Wendell, yes, unfortunately we had Hurricane Irma that shook us up in a most dramatic way that we could imagine. But we need to shake up a little more and understand and smell the bush tea or smell the coffee or smell whatever you need to smell to understand that this is not going to change. This is not going to change. The reason why we are here, we talk about electoral reform the last election. Every political party, including our association and movement, mention and have in their manifestos about electoral reform. Yet, nothing was done. The mere a paperwork was put together that was seen as undemocratic. No further research was done. So this is, I want to start referring to these elections no longer as snap elections, but as actually the norm elections, because it is becoming the norm. A regular elections or four-year elections, I think that if we continue like this, it's going to take a long time before we could see those elections come back and full terms are there. There are so many things that needs to get changed, and unfortunately, I say it again, political maturity does not come with political seniority.
But are we willing to change? That's the big question.
Well, they are not willing to change, that is clear. regardless to younger members, and I was so happy that we didn't get in, but that's one. But still happy that I saw a great number of fresh new faces within the political scene. New parties were established in 2015, given the opportunity to contest in 2016, and of some of those established parties, they were new members, and they are in parliament. And then to say I'm not jumping on anyone's back, because that's not our platform as SDM. We don't jump, we just spell the facts.
Yes.
Right? To see that the same reason for a 2015 snap elections call is the same reason we have a 2017, 2018 snap elections call again. And then they want us to trust them. When I say us, I mean the general public. So me going out there and speaking to the community is only highlighting the devastation that we're going in, highlighting the devastation that the people of St. Martin that are being requested to vote, to consider voting, what they have to veto. And I wouldn't say it's an easy sell, but they are writing the book as we go along. They are writing that book of despair as we go along, in the sense that, listen, there's no time for this. 600-something thousand guilders we're going to spend on election again that they put aside, and who knows what all other finances have to be involved, right? That could be much use and needed somewhere else. That's the realities we have to look at.
You've been following the budget, I'm sure, because this is of concern
Yes.
to you. And I'm sure that you also heard of the minister talking about the amount of deficit on the budget so far.
Yeah.
Now, with that in mind, you can also expect that there's going to be some unforeseen additional expenses that we're not bargaining for, which includes an incoming group of ministers
for a couple of months.
who were not for a couple of months, who were not on the payroll. They would have to be paid.
Yes.
Meanwhile, those who
were there
out
will continue to be paid.
And there were those who were there before continue to be paid.
Yes.
A listener brought that to my attention, and I said, this is something that we haven't even been thinking about.
Let's say it like how the old people say it. Let's be real. The hole was dug. We jumped in the hole, and now the quicksand starting to come up. It's getting worse for us as we go along.
Yeah.
And that's a reality each and every St. Martiner living here needs to face at this present moment. We have to face that bitter reality that things are not going to get better. They are only going to continue to get worse. Why, people? I don't mind that you didn't vote for me. I don't mind that you didn't vote for another association, political party that meant well or whatever, or that you casted your vote elsewhere. I need you to understand now what we are going through now, that is nothing of now. It is something that has been dawning on us for the longest a while. Unfortunately, Sister Irma came and shook the tree so hard that all the apples fell out. And now they're on the ground rotting. That's the reality we are living in. We see on a multitude.
We have the same shakers, though.
We have the same shakers, and we need to understand, if we continue in a way like this, we continue to keep on to plant that seed, and don't change the location or don't change the type of seeds that we are planting, we will continue to bear the same fruits. And things are not getting better.
Can you bring that? Can you say that in layman terms? What are you trying to say, Ben?
I'm trying to say, if we continue voting the way we vote, if we continue to understand that the status quo still needs to go, it needs to stop. We need to stop complaining about the realities that we are living in now and change our future when we have the chance. And I don't want to sound bitter, because that is not why I'm here. I want to sound as a realist.
Yes.
People understand, and I think they do. I think because, Wendell, you look clean, you look good. I'm hoping that you had a nice shower. I had a nice shower this morning, but there are many people out there that did not. There are many people out there that are still seeing that blue when they're looking up, and it's not the blue sky, it's the blue tarpaulin. There are many people that don't have electricity. There are many people that don't have running water, that has to go and fetch water. We are back 30 years, if not more. Because and I'm not saying that it's the politicians that cause Irma to come and causes devastation, but if you do not have a plan for us, if you are calling me, if you're calling yourself our great leaders for the past 30, 40 years, and you don't have a plan for us, then something is wrong. Something is wrong in this great nation we call Oh Sweet Samaritan Land Window. And I need everyone to, whether you vote for SDM and any of our members going forward, or you vote for any of the new candidates, or you vote for even established parties, make sure that your vote counts. Call and ensure that your voice is heard. Hold people accountable for their words. This last year, Wendell, following the from after the elections or during the elections up until now, we are only hearing a lot of backtracking and sidetracking. And but yeah, electoral reform is needed, but you got in power because of electoral changes, because of not having electoral changes, because of the same thing you so-called want to combat is the ship jumping.
It was promised.
It was promised, and now we are a year further. And nothing has happened. Absolutely nothing. On the contrary, the same reason why we had a year election back then, we have now again. And you're expecting people to be happy?
Is this going forward or stepping backwards?
This is unfortunately stepping our toes going backward.
Okay, let's backtrack a little bit to Omar and some of the challenges that it presented and how they were handled. You are well aware of what started or what could be responsible for starting much of this confusion that led to the fall of government. Were we sensitive enough when it comes to taking the issues of our people into consideration, you think?
Well, when you say we, I can't speak in the terms of we. I think that everyone has a responsibility. And if you hold a certain portfolio, you have that responsibility. So when I hear certain persons talking about, it's not fair that a certain individual is getting all the blame, or that what is happening with the Dutch after the devastating Irma, that is not fair, and they're holding us hostage, it might all be true. But again, we need to be held accountable. Anyone that holds a certain position, that has a certain mandate, that has a certain responsibility, needs to be held accountable for their actions. Mm-hmm. And at times you're going to get the glory, and at times you're going to get the bad side.
Yes. Whatever it is.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's the reality we also have to live in. I think that that I have understanding for certain things. I've worked in situations with hurricane when I was in my previous work, but at the same time I understand the pyramid of instruction as well too.
Okay.
I understand the pyramid as when EOC and when disaster management is called, who has responsibility and what are the tasks of the various members within EOC. And I would like to mention that the ministries run in a certain way the EOC, not the ministers. Mm-hmm. There's only one responsible, and that's the Minister of General Affairs. Okay. Prior to 10-10-10, we all know we had the governor there, mm-hmm. right? So he was the responsible one. Lieutenant Governor, to be exact, was the responsible one to run EOC and make the hard knock decisions. So when the glory comes, you will take it, but also when the bad apples come, you should have to take on your bad decisions as well.
Okay. All right. Mr. Benjamin Ortega from the SDM party, he's here with me for a full hour. And of course, later on, we'll include your phone call, so you'll get a chance to toss a question or two to him. By the way, what have you been doing all along since you came on the scene the last time? I think the people will want to know.
Well, we do.
Whether you just faded out because you didn't win a seat in Parliament.
No, we didn't. We did not win a seat, Wendell. Although I'm really fortunate to have received the amount of votes that we all received as for our new penniless association and movement. But I think we have planted a seed in a good direction. If they ask what we have been doing, because I know that there are some individuals out there say, we ain't hearing from them. And listen, everyone has their manner in which they profess their realities. We are not going to say that, yes, we might have been, should have been a lot more vocal on social media. And if everyone listens to me in every interview, I always say that social media is not that social. So I think that What
do you mean by it's not that?
Well, it's hiding behind a computer or a screen or a digital media to express yourself. Mm-hmm. And you miss the touch that I believe that we need here in St. Martin, especially now that one-on-one touch. Hold your hand and shake it and say, "How you doing?" How your mother, how your father, how's everybody okay? And watch someone in the eye and understand if they're really happy or they're really sad. So we have dedicated ourselves in various ways to community service. We have been doing a lot. Me in particular, I've commended in working to improving smaller things, improving my circle around me, but also the small business community.
Okay.
I mentor at least 3 businesses on a daily basis, helping them out on how to move forward and grow themselves. I went also for the elections of the Chamber of Commerce. I was luckily elected to the board of the Chamber of Commerce.
Good for you.
And thank you. And within short, I was also amongst the members of the board. I was also elected to the vice presidency of the Chamber of Commerce. So these are all accomplishments that I think that shows that we are working behind the scenes. And within that, as a member of the Chamber of Commerce, we have and I have my part to play in establishing that advisory role towards our business community. One of the last times I was here on your program, Mr. Moore, was when we collaborated with Safe Haven, and that's an ongoing something that we are doing. And
You've committed yourself.
Committed myself for 3 years long. Me and my company then to assist cost-free, and we're actually giving, the against domestic violence in St. Martin. So we have been doing a lot. We have been speaking to various individuals. We continue to go out in the community and help where we can. And these are not things that you need to all the time put on a big poster or broadcast all over the world that, oh, look at me, I'm beating my chest, this is what I'm doing. But where needed, we come out and we write and we pull back also.
But isn't that an important part of preparing yourself for really being able to provide service to the general public?
Preparing yourself in providing that role to the general public is being there next to the general public. That's first and foremost. You need to understand what they are going through. Detaching yourself and writing perfect articles and it doesn't make you closer to them. Yes, you might be right, and yes, we could maybe do a better part in that. But don't tell me that we have been silent, because we have not. We out there. People are saying, "Hey, you're back at it again." Of course, we didn't leave. And at the same time, every time we have written something or been on a program, we have received enormous amount of fan information. Say, hey, you spoke well. The points that you brought up was well thought of. Our last article referring to the time that we are in with regards to the egos and our goals getting mixed up with each other, right? That had hit home. But that's all we need to do now. All we need to do is be there for the people that we say that they are our supporters, and also those that are not supporting us, and at the same time commit ourselves to change. Change starts by yourself. That's it.
All right, Mr. Ortega, you had some views on the National Healthcare Plan. How important is that to you?
Well,
and where do you see that playing a role in our further development?
I don't know if you could recall a few months ago when that NHI, National Healthcare Insurance Plan, that was the hot topic. It is still the hot topic in our view, because even more now that we are in the devastation that we are in, come 1st of January, we are supposed to be over to this NHI. It's still according to me, the date did not change. The purpose of that date did not change. The repercussions, whether or not if Holland's going to come down and take over. Yesterday, you asked a question about SZV. I started to wonder what's really going on. What's going on? Because we're not hearing anything regarding NHI. Now we have 39 days to go until end of this year. And something that is for the general public is not being, we're not being informed on it. And that's coming back to your previous question, why all this haisa after elections, knowing that, after the devastation of Irma, knowing that maybe little to nothing would have been able to be done, but is the information dissemination is the issue. When you don't respect your people and you keep them on an arm's length, right? What happens then? When you don't inform them of your plans, you talk about this plan A and a plan B, and I could go on to each individual member of parliament grandstanding, but not saying nothing that will benefit other people, not asking questions or even extending their hand to their colleague on the other color side of the fence and saying, what can I do to help you? Let me know. So I'm like, okay, and what then? We have a serious issue. Before the show, this program started, you mentioned already, we are in despair and we have no idea how deep that is.
You mentioned the word plan a moment ago, and I believe that that should be the key word when approaching a solution. If you don't have a plan to approach
Yes.
fixing our issues and our
Yes.
problems, it means that you are there waiting for that point where it goes sour or it goes off trail, and then you deal with that.
Yes.
Is that the type of approach you're saying?
Now, listen, I personally don't want to be the one crying foul after the fact. That's hindsight. So we're saying from now what our plan is. I'm saying from now there have been many organizations on the island right after Irma, some of them even before Irma, doing assessments on damages. Various amount of assessments came out, from the Red Cross to the various government agencies, through in the kingdom, outside of the kingdom, worldwide. So information is there. I'm definitely sure of that information. Now, how do we go forward? We believe that the first year and a half at least, we're going to be living from an insurance climate, insurance funding climate. So we have to ensure, Parliament should ensure, government should ensure that the money is due to the people and due to the organization and due to the damages that is there, that is rightfully spent, that we get what we are owed. And then what's going to happen? We're going to start building back based on that fund. So when you are a bartender, but there's no more bar to attend, you have to maybe work in a different field of interest. So training persons and giving them crash courses and getting them, these are things that should be in the plan. But also incentives, because we know already we are going to be in a deficit. So let's put that aside for how hard that may be, because I'll come back to that. Let's put that aside because that's a reality we are already living in, and we know that's going to move forward. What we need to do is give, like the contractors pool, engineering pool, incentives. Listen, you're going to work along. We're going to guarantee you, because we have, for example, 400 homes that need XYZ on construction works to be done. So the materials that are being brought in, the labor that is being levied to do the work, the engineering to do the work, it has to be based on a no no profit margin, a low profit margin, to ensure that you're going to be part of it. We're going to give you tax breaks, we're going to give you incentives, but on the flip side of it, you can't come with overpriced, because we heard about estimates that went 3-4 times the amount.
You sound very structural here.
Yes.
But is this part of your solution?
This is part
You
of the
see,
solution.
to
You have to do it. And you have to have that time frame in place, a realistic time frame, knowing the numbers. Now, again, you and I, Wendell, are not privy to all of the information that is on the table. But if we were, we would say, okay, we have so many homes that are damaged to that and that extent. We categorize such. We could easily take out all of the information that we have locally on the contracting firms and the engineering firms. We could group them together and have a criteria based on how we are going to go forward. And then government will say, listen, this is the incentive, and with the Economic Affairs Department, we establish what the pricing range will be. Yes, everyone is entitled to a fair share of their income, but it should not be off of the backs of the people that are suffering right now.
All right. Are you aware of how the bureaucracy of government works? Because I'm listening to you
Very much.
and I'm seeing that you might be one of those persons, probably if elected, to bring to the table another arm of being able to address some of our problems.
Yes.
But I'm wondering if you are aware as well that when you do get there,
Yep.
you realize how difficult it is to get
Don't
things
don't
going.
forget don't forget Wendell. I have worked for government from 2007 2011 before moving on elsewhere.
Okay.
Yes, right now I'm in semi-private sector, but it still remains the same. What I'm referring to, Wendell, is common structure. And there's where, when we talk about the status quo, doing things the same way over and over again, if we don't change that. Everyone thought that I was referring to this party and that party. No, 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 no. We're referring to everything that needs to be changed. The status quo got to go. If you're not contented how things are, the long lines, the high prices, you need to start a change somewhere, right? So knowing the government apparatus, knowing how that functions, knowing its flaws and its possibilities, we have a lot already in place. We are not inventing the wheel. You can't tell me that in St. Martin we invent wheels, because our economy would have been sky high. So what we need to do is start executing best practices.
Okay. Mr. Ortega, you are well aware of some of the practices that we engage in
Yes.
when getting things done. And I'm referring to, you're not ready to jump on this, although this project is in the best interest of St. Martin.
Yes.
Because you have not yet set up the people who you want to be involved, whether
Yeah.
it's your party members or family members. And that's part of the problem that we're dealing with. This is something you see needs to change.
Status quo got to go, and I'm going to refer and I'm going to repeat, Wendell. We see, every time we hear, for example, let me look, clean example. How long have we been talking about a waste to energy / incinerator / cleaning up of the dump?
Yeah.
Yet we are this was even before 10-10-10. This was even before we went country status. But yet today we are hearing it coming soon. Why? Because now tomorrow you're going to say it coming soon again. Why? A new minister is going to be put in place. And the plans of the previous is being put aside. But one guy have to remember how much man hours goes in that from the administrative side, from the departments researching, discussing, negotiating, and contacts that are put aside. How you expect us to move forward then? The beautification of Phillipsburg, and again, I'm not jumping on any soul, but this beautification that is now on the table, was there on the table there before 10-10-10? I was part of it. Okay. And I could go into details of that too, but it's not needed. But what I'm trying to say is that we try to do as if we're inventing a wheel, and that is keeping us back.
All right. We got to take a break, folks. We are at the time when we have to take a break, and when we come back, we'll include your phone calls to Mr. Ortega. If you do have a question for him, I'll allow you the opportunity to speak to him. If not, there are lots more questions I'd like to ask him, but let's take a break first and come back. And welcome back to Viewpoint for today. I'm here with Mr. Benjamin Ortega from the SDM party, and of course, we'll include your phone calls if you so wish. But let me start here, where there's another area of hurt in our community. Mr. Ortega, I've just learned as well that the post office workers, they aren't even sure of what their future is like. And that might be an overstatement when it comes to future.
Yeah.
But even now, being paid for work that they've done last month, they're not even sure of getting paid. And that's just one of the many issues that we're dealing with in our community. People are losing their jobs. There are those their monies are drying up.
Yes.
What's the solution that we're going to present for all this?
Well, let me first say that I sympathize with everyone, the post office workers, but also everyone that had a 6 months contract or year contract that was not extended, and businesses that had to close, whether temporarily or permanently. We all feeling the brunt in the passing of Irma. Unfortunately, also the post office has been known to have extreme financial difficulties going forward for, at least that I know, a year that it has been in the media, if not longer. And there were various attempts to save the post office, various attempts and various structures that were put in place, and various persons involved and organizations involved. And Yes, unfortunately, again, Irma passed and shook us back to reality that if we don't structurally start and change things, this is the outcome that could happen. It's not Irma's fault, but Irma sped up the process of these unfortunate mishaps. And there's a lot of people are being dismissed from their jobs. And, you know, hurtfully, and you read in the papers what is happening by certain resorts and the two-day work, and everyone wants to how you say, to hold on to that last little bit of their sanity, and the last little bit of income, the last little bit of their future in any way possible. Now, what we should have done and what we should do going forward is putting things in place, such as the insurance part with regards to loss of income. You know, certain organization, we should say, okay, you must be insured for this, for at least for so much percentage of your personnel, to ensure you don't come in a catastrophe thereafter. To say at least for 6 months you have a carrying weight or whatever there could be. There are various ways of negotiation. But if you do not put things on the table, Wendell, and you tend to always push them, you know that pile, you know, when you're chaotic working, you have your desk and it's full of papers, and that one staple of papers you don't want to deal with, because that's going to cost you the most headaches, and you keep on pushing it over, pushing it over, pushing it over, until one day it falls off of your table, and it's not gone, you know.
It's
It
still
only
there.
becomes worse,
Yes.
because now you have to pick up everything from off the ground. So that's where we are right now. And we see that not only with the post office, very unfortunate, and I hope that doesn't come to that, because I know some of the workers there have engaged with them on personal levels, and it will be very unfortunate to have those hard-working Samaritans out of a job and not knowing how their Christmas is going to end. But also we have that same thing with university. It is you know, I'm not blaming anyone, because I think it was yesterday there was an article in Opinion of the papers that hit home. We're all to blame. We are all to blame, including politicians, including parliamentarians, prior to going to country status as well, because the issues that they've been having is not something that come after Irma. It has been on the table for so long. But those are the things, all of those ministers that were there, and I'm saying it with all due respect, because I know all of them, and I love every Samaritan. So we got to have love for each other too. But we need to be critical to the
Yeah.
point that you cannot be shoving that paper on the side, on the side, on the side for so long, and at a certain moment it falls off.
You know what I believe that paper is?
Tell me.
I believe that paper is not doing enough for our people.
That is one of the papers, yes. Definitely one
Because
of the
if we're
papers.
doing enough for our people, I'm
Yeah.
sure that we would have been in a much better situation today.
You know, you asked a question, and you made a statement that you would not want to be in any politician's shoes right now, because the realities will be, and I hope that is not so. I truly, from the deepest of my heart, that not too many promises are going to be made during this election. We gonna fix everything for you. We gonna do this for you. We gonna do that for you. In reality, you can't fix everything. You would not be able to fix everything. What we can, and what I can promise, is that from this moment on, as I am elected, I will do my work to ensure that the fixing starts. Not that I'm going to fix everything, that the fixing starts in a structural manner, that giving back to the people. The communities need to be empowered. The communities need to understand they cannot, and we have seen that now, they cannot continue to look at government and say, ha, gimme. We need to stop that also.
Yeah. I I think it is safe to say that when you look at the reality of our situation, and you can disagree if you so wish, that more emphasis seems to be placed on having, and there's nothing wrong with having lots of business activities,
Yeah.
because the spin-offs from that would be finding work for our people, hopefully.
Correct.
But when the people get the permission to start business, you see how little they contribute when it comes to not only hiring our people but making sure their jobs are secured. And hence, that's where I'm going with my train of thought when I say we're not doing enough for our people.
I believe that we should, not I believe, I know that structure is missing. We are lacking structure. Again, we don't have to invent the wheel. We need to apply the structure that is there already. and be held accountable for the execution of such. Everyone has a responsibility to play, the responsibility role to fulfill, whether you're in parliament or in government, whether you are a cashier or you are a manager, you have that responsibility. And when you work for someone and you do not perform, what happens? You get put aside, right?
Yes.
You get sanctioned. Where's the sanctioning for all of these years that is happening? Now, again, let's not blame Irma. Let's let Irma. Let's not say, oh, Irma, and then expected the government got to put back on my roof. No, government should have ensured that there was a structure in place that in event that this thing should happen, a rollout plan would happen.
You know, a gentleman called here some time ago, and he made so much sense because he made reference to, say, the amount of people that come to St. Martin. Why can't we just get a dollar from each one of them and start what you call an emergency fund?
Yes, but there are various of such, and there's various of such programs already. You know, I believe the Timeshare Association also had such a program, $1 a day, that went back to the community. And but where's the structure in place? Where does that end up? And I'm not saying that it's end up in any pocket, but if there's not a mandated structure, then it's left on the various organizations to do
Whatever
as
they want.
best they are doing. And then their best interest might not be my best interest. And they are doing well for them and their community, but it will not be trickled down to all of us, or it might well be. So missing that involvement and missing that structure became chaos, and that's what we saw what happened after Irma. It's not saying that this one didn't do his job, that one make a bad decision. No, it was chaos. There was no information. There was wrongful information. There was this lack of respect for each other, because if we see on parliament level and ministerial level, they're going at it like cats and dogs. We expect to see out in the road. What do you expect to see out in the road? There's no more love in St. Martin. The friendly island slowly disappearing. I remain to say, we are a people, a nation of strong individuals, strong-headed and strong-loved. But we need to nurture that. Oh, sweet St. Martin land must be in every manifesto for the next election. It will be in ours for sure, as it was all the time. We must go back to meeting with our French brothers and sisters, our cousins, literally, because I call myself from all sides. I might have a Spanish last name from Curacao, from my father, but I'm also French and Dutch and Anguillian. We need to grow that bond back together, because whatever happens here affects there. Whatever happens there affects us here. We look. I work in the tourist industry, right? I'm not going to mention where I work, but everyone knows where I work in the tourist industry. And at the same time, we see that certain things are not happening because they were lacking that unity.
All right. Mr. Ortega, let me take a call for you. Good afternoon, caller. You're on. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Wendell, and all listeners. And to the person you have on the station there, you're talking about the structure. First, you have to set your home in order. You have your home, you have expense of groceries, you have expense of family, expense when they're ill and whatnot. The same way you try to set a structure for your home, we need to set a better structure, our ministers and government. They need to set a structure, that's what I keep saying. We need to get the government companies to start giving back on a disaster fund, but at the same time, they must let the people inform how that fund is spent when it should happen. You don't wait after 22 years. If we had something like a structure set up with funds coming in from all the government-owned companies on a disaster relief fund, it's after 22 years of Hurricane Louis, we get Irma, we would have enough money to help the needy people where their homes are, where they is helpless. We have a lot of people is helpless, no home, no place to sleep, sleeping in their cars and whatnot. No, this is a lesson. This God sent us a message here. Our parliamentarians and government officials have to set up a vision and structure that will work for not one but all, young and old.
Correct.
We have a lot of young people out there now finish school, now they have a baby, they now start a family, and they out of a job too, they frustrated.
Yeah.
Correct.
But if you have a proper structure, not only the proper structure that we're receiving funds and we're giving out a voucher for $150 and you're doing it 2 times a month, that is not enough to maintain a man, his wife, or a man and a girlfriend and a child.
Right.
Even if they're getting 2 days payment from the company that they was working on. And the next thing happening with us, we back in slavery. Because why? Every time a business is closed and you have your service, you lose it. Because there's a new owner take over and then they say they're bankruptcy. And then that worker lose all that. What government and the ministers have to do in parliament is to have structure in place if it's there and let's use it where every company that open a business on the island must have that worker benefit on a pool or in a security fund. That it must only be managed by all 15 members of the elected. When you're going into a disaster fund, all 15 persons must say, yes, we're okay for this. Right. Not one. That's one of the problems. Right. Number 2, all employees working for companies, the company is supposed to set up a fund and should be supervised by our finance minister or by some inspectorate that they go to this business and see that they have that money in that account. Every year that person make an hour, a yearly service, you know you benefit of 1 week's salary, you have that there. If that person works 20 years, that 20 years is there and they keep checking on it. The company must not use that money for no other purpose but as a security fund.
Correct.
That any time that company decides to sell or close down, that employee gets what is benefit for them, what is rightfully for them, what is fair for them, and that's the problem.
Right.
We're not getting a fair deal, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you, caller.
Thank you.
The word structure, government structure that you can identify with.
Yes.
And here we go.
It's clear. I mean, the caller. Thank you for that comments and those words, caller. I think you're resonating exactly what I just said and what I just meant also, that we are lacking the structure. We need to put a proper structure in place and move forward and have that plan executed and be accountable for it. The caller talk about have your home in order, right? I want to mention something, Wendell. And a lot of people don't realize how fortunate we are, but how the road it took for us to be fortunate. St. Martin, because how we are and the industries that we cater to, we were able, if you had a 1-bedroom home but you had land enough, you could go and you built on piece by piece and so. And so we had 20 years from now, right, you could have what people might consider a mansion, but you built it out of your pocket because back in the days we had jollification. Now, for only those that have mortgages now, Wendell, right, is deemed for them, they must have an insurance. Now, insurance ain't cheap. Insurance is not cheap. It is a needed fund that in the event that something happens, but yearly you must pay your premiums for your insurance. Now, that young lady or young man up in the 50s or the 60s or they just went to pension, they don't have insurance, they don't pay off what little financial aid they had and or in mortgages they had, so they do not need for a full insurance now. Up come Irma, everything gone. But then they're holding their head. So we have an issue. Those people there have worked 60 years to build what they have. And people are looking from us from them, but they're rich.
But
that's wrong.
What kind of good can we look forward to coming out of this?
The only good that I think that we could really see out of this, if your eyes were not open, they are wide open now. And we must realize, and when we go to vote, we don't vote with a compassion or vote for sympathy. We need to vote for reality. We need to vote for a true change. And those that are there saying that, okay, we're going to give you that and you're going to give you this, they need to understand they will be held accountable for it. The gentleman said also, the caller said about the parliament members. If every political association, party or movement or whatever they want to call themselves have on their manifesto a certain amount of points that they want. If you look across the board, because we have put them all across the board, you see so much of similarities. But yet when elected, we can't get a quorum to say, everybody agreed upon this. Let's put it to vote. This is the way how we're going to move forward. And we make it a law or we make it a motion, we sign on it.
Because only certain people are going to get the
they're
glory.
only thinking on the colors.
Yes.
They're only thinking on the colors, and what the colors does do, separate us. And what we get separated, right, divide and conquer. And that's exactly what's happening now. Divide and conquer.
All right, spend a little time talking about what you'll be doing this Friday.
Yes, this Friday, Wendell, as one of my community services that we are doing, we will be. I will be speaking at a Safe Haven event at the university. It's from 6 to 8. It's also against domestic violence, women and girls. So I encourage all those on there to build your community by showing proper responsibility in coming to this event by university from 6 to 8.
All right. And it looks like there's a lot of change in behavior these days as a
Yes,
result of
yes, we need.
coming out of Irma.
Yes,
We need to try to get it in line.
yes, we need to get it in line, and we need to also look at our mental health foundation, and maybe look at back in the days we had Capriles Clinique, everyone was going to Curacao or whatever have you. Now we don't
We
go
need
to
to work
Curacao. We have to
ourselves.
need ourselves. We need to
Yeah.
empower these things,
Yeah.
and this is the structure approach that we need to start now. So when it does, and if it does happen again, we'll be ready and prepared for it.
Benefit from it.
Yeah, right.
All right. That's Mr. Benjamin Ortega from the SDM party, of course. You'll hear more from him as we get closer to the elections. But for now, I want to thank him for coming in and sharing this time with me. Very well done, very well said. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Wendell.
All right. That's it for today, guys. As far as the 12 o'clock program is concerned, I'll be back at 5 this afternoon. I would like you to come and join me then. I'll have another interesting guest. So until then and tomorrow at noon, enjoy what's left of your Wednesday. Bye-bye.